This is Mini's 2-gate all-in the ASL finals versus Sulky. This was a game that he actually won. I've seen him do this build before in like a really high-level, super important match where he won there too. I can't remember which season it won. I've casted too many of these. But it's basically a hyper-pressure 2-gate play into a hard stop. Like, I'm going to have a Reaver out now, and now you can't deal with it. It works especially well on this map, Retro, because if you look at it, it's basically, like if you walk out of your base, it's like a direct path right through here into the Zerg's base. Rush distances, if you're sharing a corner on the map, are really, really good. Same if you're down here. If your cross spawns, which is not what happened in this game, but if you were, down here in the bottom left, I have another VOD where I review a play that Cork does that I thought was a pretty good take if you 2-gate and you're not right next to each other. So with this build, you go gateway on 9. If you watch a lot of my PvP games, I go gateway on 10 into a second gate on 12. That's not this build. This is 9-gate into 2 probes into 11-gate. You can be tempted to not make the extra probes and make the second gate earlier. You need to have a key number of probes, which seems to be about 14 and then 15 right after that, to have the momentum to do all of the... yeah, I can get rid of Sulky's vision. To get everything else out you need. You're not all-inning in the sense that you're going to try to run them over with Zealots. If you wanted to do that, you could make the gateways closer to their base, even out here. Or if this was like a 2-player map, you could make it right outside their base. The idea instead is that you put on so much pressure that they can't answer the mid-game tech. So, in this case, Mini is going to be fortunate enough to scout the top left where Sulky is. This is a build that seems to be specifically good against Overpool. And I do want to point out that Sulky does fall for a trap here that allows this build to be very strong. So, I will turn on Sulky's vision for a second once we get to that point in time in the game. So seeing the second drone out here, he knows, okay, there's no way that there's 2 drones coming out of this main unless, you know, Sulky's here, which he obviously is. By the way, you get a pylon after you have your 12th probe made. I'm sorry, your 13th probe is started here. So there's going to be a split second where the second gateway doesn't have enough supply, but you'll get that third zealot out pretty fast. So he denies the hatchery. We see that because Sulky's minerals are floating over here at over 300. Sulky does go for overpool, so he gets an overlord and then a spawning pool. I'm going to put on the vision real quick here, and I'm going to go back for a second. So what actually happened, and part of the build order from Sulky, is he's checking naturals only for expansion plays. So look at this. He comes down here, boom, immediately doesn't see a forge or gateway, anything like that, pylon, and assumes, because he also scouted here and doesn't see the same, that this is a cross-spawn position. Now, this is what actually turbocharges Mini's build. Mini's a guy who can prep for a player who knows how to cut corners. I still think this build has viability if they don't spot that. I still think it's strong and you could win games on ladder. That's luck in StarCraft. Well, he could have also just gone up the ramp, right? But basically, because the probe denied this base over here, Sulky's in a hurry to get a third base up somewhere else. And so this falls right into the trap. Because now sorry, when I say third base, this is the third base position. This will be the second base that Sulky actually takes. No, it's not. I'm sorry. He actually takes us here. He will take this one later. But you get what I'm saying. On Retro, there's not a lot of spawns to or spots to expand to. So these are very, very punishable. So the fact that you're expanding in the direction of the Protoss is never good for the Zerg. So, slowing the game down a little bit here and turning off Sulky's vision. He's going to see the gas has been taken. And does Sulky expand yet? So that's a quick gas. A gas at about 240 means it's probably before the third hatchery. So very quick ling speed. You get the gas before the third pylon. So there's a big halt on the 14th probe of the game. Gas and pylon. That'll come in a second. Right back there. And the 3 zealots are inbound. Now, here's what's funny. In the rush, he sees the hatcheries here. Now, I'll tell you what I would do in this position. I would start attacking the hatchery. And that shows that I didn't understand the build when I cast it initially. Mini knows what's more important is that he needs to get over here where the drones are. He wants to start to kill lings. And you can see Sulky is just about to find out. Actually, he doesn't even see these. Let's see if he actually spots these zealots inbound here. This is wild. So this hatchery starts in a second. They're going to be zealots inbound. The zealots are going to go right by this. Do we see it? He never sees it. That's fucking insane. The 3 zealots are already here. They've gone right under the hatchery. That's wild. So he has 2 more zealots coming out. You're continuing to make the zealots in pairs. Now, I'm not going to show the fight for a second just to show the build itself. And then we can get to the interesting part. He puts 3 in gas, makes the core, and he makes the core after the 7th zealot has started. So you would have made 7 zealots at this point in time. And this all matters because you need to have, you need to be ready to get that robo out. You're forcing him to make lings because he's going to lose to a reaver. So look at this. He does not go behind these minerals. He does not try to plug up the ramp with the zealots. He wants to get here. Kill drones and maybe get behind here. If you can get behind here with the zealots, then you have opportunities to attack this hatchery, to exploit this position up here, and to basically get value with the zealots. If the zealots are back here, or back here, but more importantly, this is the ideal spot to get him in, then the Zerg either has to make a lot more Zerglings to break the positions of the zealots in this spot, kind of like breaking up a ramp, or they have to make a sunken colony. Either way, it costs drones. More lings cost drones, sunken colonies cost drones. So we're going to slow this down. He takes whatever swipe he can. Sorry, let me put the normal vision on here. And I'll turn off soul keys here for a second. So, notice he moves in and immediately moves out. It's more important that the drones are not mining than to just dive in and get the kills. You're trying to elongate the rush. So even though the Zerg is playing pretty perfectly right now, this is lost mining time. He does catch the probe, which is pretty big. And what Mini's doing is he's staying out of the transit lane to this expansion up here. Because the only way that he's going to get hit was with the mineral move. Gets a drone. Now, why has he not gone by the minerals already? Because he knows he has enough zealots and momentum to take the fight. That's really important here. If you realize that you can actually just continue to kill lings, the rush is already working. When the lings start to have an overwhelming amount, then you default behind the minerals. But as we saw earlier, Sulky overmade workers because he thought it was a cross-spawn play due to the deceptive position of the 2 gates over here. So we're at 14 probes. I think a 15th one is made in a little bit here, but basically, you're almost on even numbers of workers. That's how aggressive this attack is. You see him attacking the egg here? So there's actually a rationale to this. The zealots will never kill the egg, but the lings will bug as they come out because they can't find surface area. So watch this. We've got the other zealots coming up. Sorry, I'm so zoomed in. Notice this creep colony starts here. That's a forced drone. So now he was at 12 drones. He's going to be at 11. This is timed out nicely to draw the zealots away. So the lings actually get out. But I'm sure many of you have experienced this, but if you have your zealots attacking an egg, they'll default right on the lings as they hatch. So he pulls this away. The 4th and the 5th zealot come up. Just a little reminder, by the way, a creep colony has 400 HP, a sunken colony has 300. So when it finishes morphine, it loses 100 HP immediately. So if you get a sunken colony to like 100 HP, you can just let one probe attack it, and as it finishes, it'll just explode. So he cancels because he's trying to buy time. We have Link Speed started, by the way. He comes in for another hit on the drone. Notice he doesn't commit down on it. He could have gotten the kill. He knows he needs to buy time. This probably is an overextension, actually, by Mini. So the core is almost done. We don't have any gas being bind, by the way. In reality, because of the pressure of the rush, well, this hatchery is going to be canceled in a second. Oh, this is a bug. This was already canceled. Hold on, I'll show you. Sorry. Let's see when this hatchery gets canceled. I think if I turn on full map vision, but I haven't turned on their vision, it bugs. So let's watch this. When does he cancel this? So this was canceled as the creep colony was started. He doesn't have the money. So that's a bug. So this is the actual true vision. It's 2 hatches, no drones here. Against this Zerg that's just trying to not get overpowered. Okay, so back to our rush. Holy shit. Sorry. So we're going to just get to that part where the creep is started and then canceled in this game of trying to buy time. Now, back at home, we're about to have the 8th and 9th Zealot made. This drone drill is really scary. This could definitely put the Zerg back into the game. The idea is you try to micro away the weaker Zealots and just keep the Zealots alive as long as possible. He gets a couple more drones here, and then he actually does this pretty cool maneuver where as the drones gather here, he pulls away. This area back here, there's only actual 4 points of entry, and they all are horrible for the Zerg. It's here, 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 and here. So this is one of those positions where when the fight starts to get close, by the way, these 2 Zealots were rallied to kill off the third hatch that was already canceled. So he pulls back over here. And what's funny about this is actually a pretty desirable target. If you kill off the sunken colony, or the, spawning pool, you just win the game. That's it. Now, back at home, the robo starts. So I'm going to full vision us for this right now. There are no drones mining gas. More Zealots are coming. There are basically more Zealots in this game than there are Zerglings for the time being. So if you can keep on trading efficiently, it's a problem. And the robo, when that comes out, it basically will end the game. There's nothing you can do against a Reaver. A Reaver can shoot down sunken colonies. A Reaver can fly around sunken colonies. A Reaver can kill off endless Zerglings. Speed or no speed. And of course, the Reaver is going to ultimately kill the drones. So Mini sets up a pretty good position over here. And whenever the Zerg gets close, it'll divert the attention. But ultimately, this spawning pool is a real target. Got to be careful not to get pulled through. So Zerg's going to do a pretty sick drone drill here. Yeah, he pulls the idle Zealots and re-rallies. Now, this drone drill is pretty good. He does avoid contact with it. It's really important you never get drilled, because that's how you're going to lose the fight. But a robo is already like 10% done. So now he takes the fight back in this corner. This is where it's okay to target some drones if you think you can get a good pairing. I don't know how to turn off this doodad in the top left. So, he just resumes the attack over here. Remember, even though those were killed off, it doesn't matter. The fatal blow is inbound here with this. So now he's just going to continue to try to take fights. Notice he doesn't go all the way up the ramp. He doesn't try to fight these directly. Instead, he starts to try to accumulate damage on this hatchery because he knows He knows this is going to be an issue if this hatchery's taken out. You're not going to be able to play this game with one hatch. So what he does is, and look, he doesn't have to kill the hatchery. If he controls it right, he might. What he's doing is he's forcing the Zerg to try to engage, and then he runs into a better position. Here and here are the only points the Lings can come into. That's about the size of these 4 Zealots. The Robo is almost done. The drones have now been transferred here, at least 4 of them, because he needs some help to break the position. And remember what we talked about earlier? This is really good, a really good place to plug the Zealots back into. So you run them right back over here. When they give up the position, you run back in, run back, in, out, like you're seeing here. Now, back at home, he's plugged up the entrance because the only way this game could get out of control is if the Lings did a big counterattack. So he just wants to make sure, okay, 4 Zealots is enough to basically cause a problem. There's no gas being mined. Then he makes 2 Dragoons. I assume this is actually to supply block the Zerg. This has been such a tight game. And, you know, even at the highest levels of play, sometimes this Overlord is just here to try to figure out what's going on. Now you can kill it. So, the Zerg takes the fight back here. How much worse could this be for the Zerg? This is a nightmare. So even in this moment, the Zealots are probably going to win the game. But regardless, we see the shuttles coming and the Robo-Base starts. And so the Zerg is going to leave the game. And this was the game that Mini won here for the ASL Finals. I mean, off the rush alone, which is pretty cool to see. Again, only do that build if you are on a map like that and you're in those spawns. I have another video where I review a game that Quark does that I think is a way to play this build out where you're in cross spawns. I think it's a lot harder. Obviously, you're not doing a Zealot all into a Reaver, but instead you kind of passively make Zealots and a Corsair to scout and hope the Zerg maybe overreacts because of the possibility of builds like the one we analyzed coming in here and doing what they did. So thank you for watching that. If you want to see more content like this on my YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button, turn the bell on, all the YouTube stuff. And see this 1A, 2A, 3A shirt with beard dandruff on it? I gotta brush these shirts off before I do these videos. You can get that at Tasteless Threads in my merch shop with a bunch of other cool stuff. Have a good day, and I will see you in a future video.